If I was starting all over again and I had £5,000, what would I do? What would I do if I wanted to get into property? And this is based on exactly what happened and what worked for me. So let's be clear, I did not start with a massive bankroll. When I first got into property, I'd saved up for about 5-6 months to get £3,000 into my account. That £3,000 was my money blueprint, my money thermostat, my kind of safeguard. Every single one of you will have like a thermostat, a money thermostat that needs to be in your account to kind of feel safe, like you're doing well. Or maybe complete opposite. Maybe you're always sat at like a minus 150, minus 200, 300, I don't know. My thermostat was, I need £3,000 in my account at any given time. So cut a long story short, when I eventually decided on rent to rent and I found a mentor, all of that went to the mentor. All £3,000. I was straight back down to zero. So I didn't even have any funds whatsoever allocated to taking on my first property. My thinking was, I'm not going to secure a property straight away. I've got to set up my business. That requires about another £300. So when I say I was straight back down to zero, I still had a little bit left over to set up my account. But there was no way I was thinking, I'm going to secure my first property in the next couple of weeks. I don't have that money allocated for my first property. I said to myself, this is going to be a process, a long, hard, learning new habits. This is going to take 3 months to secure my first deal. I had zero property experience like most of you guys. I just wanted to escape the 9-to-5 job. So that's how I got started. Fast forward 85 days, I secured 3 HMOs from one agent in the space of 10 minutes through emails. Blew my mind. By that point, I had sold a few bits and saved, and I had £3,500 sat back in my account. So I was thinking, okay, I've got enough money to take on 1 property, maybe just. And then I landed 3. Now, I know a thing or two about making money stretch in property because at that point I had to, and I've helped many of my students do exactly the same. Most people just sit on that £5,000 thinking it's not enough to get started in property. It's nowhere near enough. So they'll just save it and save even more because it's not their money blueprint. They need £10,000 in the account to feel safe, to pay for training, take on their first property, have all of their ducks in a row, and wait until they have enough for that first deal. But here's the reality. There's a thing called opportunity cost. Quite a few of my students do get lucky and secure their first deal within the first month. Imagine if they saved and waited just that extra bit longer. They would have missed out on that property, which on average profits £1,000 a month. So Maggie and Jonathan, if you haven't watched that property tour here, they secured their first deal within 3 weeks, and that's going to profit anything up to £2,000. Imagine if they joined 3 weeks later because they were procrastinating or didn't quite get their finances they wanted or all of their ducks in a row before starting. They would have missed that deal. So this is a picture of Maggie and Jonathan securing their first deal. Also, without the knowledge, that £5,000 is not going to get you very far at all. A lot of people just jump into the deep end at that point thinking, okay, I won't pay for training. I've got money for the first property. I'll go at it alone. That will 100% lead to costly mistakes and missed opportunities. Or they'll just spend it on day-to-day stuff and gradually watch that money disappear, which is actually, I've been there and is really painful. A good amount of money and then it just kind of dwindles away. Really annoying. Before I come across property, anytime I had a few grand just lying around because of my money blueprint, I didn't invest it wisely. It vanished on buying stuff. Jet skis, boy toys, holidays, day-to-day stuff, just gone. And then you gradually save up again to get to your money blueprint and then gone again. It just vanishes on like cars or last minute trips. So if you're in that spot, don't make the mistake of sitting on it and hoping it would just magically turn into an investment. If I had 5 grand and I was starting over, I wouldn't change a single thing I did. I'd get straight onto a mentor without a shadow of a doubt, because that's exactly what I did. This business is too costly to get wrong. One mistake would cost you more than the cost of a mentor itself. So my mentorship was 90 days. I secured 3 HMOs right at the end. How it all worked out is I wasn't taking those HMOs on because there were still students in there for another 6 months. So it gave me 6 extra months to get all of my ducks in a row, get my finances sorted. I managed to get creative and negotiate a gap between each property so I could refurb one HMO, get the tenants in, recoup all of my initial investment from collecting rent up front to then pay for the second and third property. And that's exactly what I did here in this screenshot. As you can see, I secured first and last month's rent from tenants before I paid for the second 2 properties. So I took on 3 HMOs, all with a 5 grand pot. So here's the bottom line, and you need to trust me when I say this. Yes, I'm a mentor, I own a training program, and you might be thinking I'm just saying that. But the proof is in the pudding. Go to my videos, go to the oldest videos. You'll see me at the very start of my journey. It's quite evident I was a newbie, I was in training. I only started documenting my journey so I could look back on it in years to come to see how far I've come myself and actually watch back through my struggles. So spending the first chunk of cash on training, that will teach you the ins and outs of the game. Don't skip that step. It's what's going to set you up to make smart decisions and avoid losing that whole 5 grand on a bad deal that's gone wrong. And you'll be so sold on mentors anyway, you'll do exactly what I've done, and any single niche I've gone into, I've got a mentor. It accelerates your journey, it saves you money, they make you money. Mentors should make you money and accelerate the journey. If you're finding value in this video, do us a favor and literally just ping that like button. We're really just trying to get to 1,000 subs, so if you're not a subscriber yet, make sure you're doing that. Also, if you're thinking about mentorship or training and you're curious about how a mentorship can actually accelerate your journey in rent to rent, consider booking a one-to-one call with me. Use the link in the description below and we'll talk about how you can get set up the right way from the beginning. So back at the beginning, I knew I needed more than £3,000 investment, and like I mentioned, by the end of the training I landed 3 HMOs which clearly needed more than £5,000 investment. Up front I needed 11 grand. I thought about selling deals, but I worked hard on building relationships with agents. I didn't want to introduce another rent-to-renter. I didn't want to lose those deals either. I wanted them. Those 3 deals alone replaced my salary. That's when I negotiated a deal with the agent to split them week to week. So I could go in, quickly refurb that first one, recoup all of my initial investment to fund the next 2. All at the same time, collecting the keys of that first property was the date of our firstborn due date. So yeah, I was extremely stressed. But it was a huge test for me, because in the future, I became a mentor. And I'm telling you now, I'm so glad my journey was very tough. I stuck with it. I was very disciplined. There was many times I thought, I'm not going to make it, but it was all a test. It was the universe providing me with a massive test because I was going to be very successful in the future. If you want to be successful, you've got to pass tests. It's not going to be easy. This is the universe saying, financial freedom over here, not going to give it to you easily. It only goes to the deserving. So on your journey, there's going to be so many tests. Just stay with it. Stay with the process, do as your mentor tells you, stay consistent, and you'll pass that test. So don't get stuck thinking you have to do all of this by yourself. There's always a way if you're committed, hence why mentorship programs exist. You can't expect anyone else to invest in you if you're not willing to invest in yourself. Training will show you how to invest every single pound going forward. Don't let limited cash hold you back. Leverage bank's money. 0% interest credit cards is always a good option. If you've never looked into credit cards, then maybe start looking into credit cards, because it's not spending money on stupid things. This is investing money. So you're leveraging bank's money to make money. JVs, borrowing money. This concept works. If you're not sold on the concept, just watch more videos, follow more groups. You'll see tons and tons of people following this process and getting results. This process works. It's not a risk. It's only a risk if you go at it alone. Put it like this. If I said to you and you had no money, here's a deal that is going to profit £1,500 a month. All you have to do is give me 5 grand. You know damn well that this is going to profit £1,500. You will find that investment. That's the way you got to treat yourself. The real difference is execution. You can have a massive book on how to become very successful. You can read it time and time and time again. But if you don't act on it, nothing changes. And it's a simple saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink. You must take action. So guys, I hope you found this insightful. If you did, hit the like. Make sure you go into the description. There's some handy links there. Join the public Facebook group. There's over 6,000 people in this Facebook group, all discussing rent to rent. Follow me on Instagram if you're not following me on Instagram. These are the places I hang out: Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So if you're enjoying this content, be sure to follow me on those socials. Take care, guys. See you on the next one.